The following announcement's been paid for by the Savvo and Stubby Show.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
What is up, wrestling fans? It's me. It's S-T-U-B-B. Why? Because I'm the man, the myth, the legend, the mighty minute himself, Stubby. Man, that's a tongue twister. And I'm coming to you from Kayfabe Studios in Modesto, California, and as usual, I am joined by my colleague. He is the enigmatic, charismatic, Greek mystique, Savvo the Savior, back from his rest from last week. How you doing, Savvo?
I'm doing good, man. Good to be back. How you guys doing? How you doing, Stubby?
None of that, anybody want a peanut? Throw it out there, man.
Anybody want a peanut?
And this week, making his Savvo and Stubby debut, coming up from the NXT roster, he is none other than...
Big time, baby!
He is none other than... Steve Vasio. How you doing, brother?
Hey, doing good, man. Thanks for having me. Been listening to the show for a long time. You know, I believe I was the first fan of this show way back a couple months ago when you started it.
I
caught every episode since then.
I won't deny the first fan part, but I'm yet to hear you pick up at least one of our episodes. But again, that name, dude, it rolls off the tongue, and I feel almost obligated that we have to say it every single time. So once again, he is Steve Vasio. You say it, Savvo.
Steve Vasio. kind of do it like a New World Order thing, you know? You know that voice when they start off?
New World Order.
Yeah, that one.
All right, guys. So we are coming off the heels of a very, very somber Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and we're leading into what was the go-home show for Raw for this weekend's Payback in San Jose, California. What is your guys' take on this? I could have slept through this whole week of wrestling and been fine.
Yeah, it felt a little flat. It just, they had some decent matches, but they were just, okay. There was nothing that really stood out. There was one thing that stood out on Raw, and we'll get into that in a few. But as a whole, between Raw and SmackDown and the upcoming pay-per-view, Payback, it all kind of just seemed mediocre to me. Hopefully I'll be wrong about that come Payback, but as of right now, that's my thought on it.
What is your thoughts, Steve Vasio?
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think Raw did a very good job of hyping up the pay-per-view. I kind of think about it in the old days before the network, when you would actually have to come out of pocket to order a pay-per-view, like $50-$60. Would I pay that much money for this pay-per-view? I wouldn't. So I don't consider it to be hyped up very well.
And you know what? You brought up a very good point, and that we'll segue into that before we get into Raw. Do you guys believe, now that we have the WWE Network in place and that there are no competitors that really step up to WWE, that they've taken a step back on the product, so where they don't feel like they have to strive as much as they did before?
I totally think that is true. Yes, they have. And not only that, but they're no longer neck and neck in competition like they were in WCW. It's the competition is gone downhill. There's still Impact, which is not up to that level at this point, but have gotten some new talent and some old talent back in, and things are looking pretty good for them so far, but they really don't have to pull out a great pay-per-view, because either way, people are still going to watch. They don't have to pay $60 for it. It's only $10. Big difference there. So yeah, I mean, in a way, it's like, you know, just like we said it before. What are you going to do? Stop watching? Probably not. So just, you know, they're probably just thinking, deal with it. What do they have to lose?
Now, do you think that falls on the writing talent, or do you think that WWE just doesn't feel they have to push as hard since there is no competitor for them?
My thought is probably they don't have to push as hard because they're not fighting for the rating. You know, there is no rating war. They just want to keep their numbers, you know, consistent or you know, raise them, whatever. But they're not really in competition with anybody, you know. So it's not like we got to bust our asses. Sure, I'm sure they're saying we got to bust it. You know, you guys don't have to bust your asses, otherwise, you know, this and that, whatever. But like I said, there's not really any direct competition, so kind of seems like it is what it is.
I see two things that play a factor there. One of those being that it's the PG era now, so they can't do as much edgy material as they had back in the Attitude Era. And the other is WWE is such a large conglomerate now that they have too many moving parts behind the scenes, and I think that they have to keep it simplified so that everybody's on the same page, so you get a watered-down product. But that's just my take.
I gotta blame the writers to some degree, because there's just so many, you know, there's so many choices on the bookings and, you know, the wins and losses that just don't make sense to me, and don't make sense to most, you know, to most viewers who just kind of feel like, you know, I could have booked that better. And of course, you know, they're not always gonna, give the fans everything they want, but there's just some really weird bookings and stuff that doesn't make sense. But I just don't get it.
It's interesting you say that too, because I think that this Superstar Shakeup came 2 months too early. Not only that, but I also think that when you brought these new people over after WrestleMania onto the main roster, that was really the only shakeup you truly needed. But to do a Superstar Shakeup 2 weeks after your biggest show, and then bring in talent that's on one brand that has a pay-per-view coming up, just doesn't make sense.
How do you feel about the shakeup? I mean, at first when they were doing it, I thought, you know, there were some cool moves they made, but so far I'm not impressed by it. It's like, you know, what was all the big deal about it? It just, I don't know. So far, it just seemed kind of flat. It fell flat.
The shakeup would have been fine if you would not have taken people that currently had a program in place, like moving Kevin Owens or moving Bray Wyatt. Neither one of those made sense. People like Charlotte made sense simply because the roster was stale and we were getting the same matches repeated. But when you take someone like Dean Ambrose and Miz and pull both these guys from the same program and put them back on the same program and have that interaction, you really didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think you're spot on. That's exactly what I was thinking. Was especially the Bray Wyatt thing. A lot of people feel like as though, you know, it's kind of stale at this point. Just get it over with. I was still kind of liking the feud, but once the Superstar Shakeup happened, it just made zero sense to move him brands when he's in the middle of a feud for the championship. So, you know, as far as Kevin Owens goes, you know, they try to fix it by saying, say if Chris Jericho were to win, he's going to switch over to SmackDown. What happens if Bray were to win for the SmackDown Championship? How would that even make sense? Like, would they allow something that, would he just move back over to SmackDown, like, right after the shakeup? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, that's just it. They actually announced that it's not a title match between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. And the best way they did to cover their ass on that was they made Jinder Mahal look like he stole the title, which they've already ruined that aspect when Booker T mentioned that Randy Orton will be defending his title against Jinder Mahal at Backlash. I mean, you're already putting it out there that Bray Wyatt never had a chance to win the belt. So, I think it was officially announced that it's not going to be a title match.
That's so stupid. I feel like, and I'm kind of excited for this House of Horrors match. You know, I want to see what it is. I want to see if it's something cool. But I feel like it's almost wasted with Randy Orton. As like they basically should have just ended the feud somehow when they switched him over and had him feud with someone on Raw, like say Finn Balor, for example. I think that'd be a good feud.
Well, when we get into the payback card, I have some ideas and some things that I think might play a factor. But why don't we go ahead and jump into Raw? This week's Raw was a very forgettable Raw like they've been recently. And if I remember correctly, this opened up with Braun Strowman again. Salvas, can you lead us into this one?
Do you have a problem with opening with Braun Strowman?
Sometimes oversaturation of somebody that's bigger than life kind of waters them down. If you look at Brock Lesnar, he's still a big name because we don't see him. And I get you're trying to get that push for Braun Strowman, so he's that, here we go, that tagline, a monster amongst men. But
wait, before you go any further, what do you like saying better, a monster among men or Glorious Steve Vacio?
Oh, I love saying Glorious Steve Vacio. Because he is the Glorious Steve Vacio.
Okay, yeah, they had Braun Strowman against Callisto in a dumpster match, which was kind of cool. It was physical. Callisto ended up winning the match actually, but he got the shit kicked out of him after that. Only because Strowman was on the outside of the ring, like right in front of the dumpster, and Callisto was in the ring, and he like drop kicked him like on his legs, so he had nowhere to go but back, and he went. It was kind of cool because he went into the dumpster, but he was like still standing. He didn't like fall into it. It's just like he jumped back kind of, and he landed in there, and then he just beat the shit out of him after he got out of there. He pushed the freaking dumpster by himself all the way up the ramp, and I think he tied somehow he tied. I can't remember exactly right now, but he sealed the lid. He tied it with something or something like that, and he ended up
like truck straps.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. But he ends up pushing the dumpster with Callisto in it off the the platform right, as you walk out behind the curtain or whatever, which was like probably like a 3 foot, maybe 4 foot drop or something like that. But it was pretty cool to watch that. I enjoyed it.
My take on this one, actually, as much shit as I give WWE for the writing, I think they actually programmed that one perfect, because like any superhero or any like larger than life character like Achilles, everyone has a weakness, and it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. The fact that Callisto had that speed element, and the fact that he can maneuver over Braun, made it more realistic that he didn't win outright. It was one of those chance he fell backwards type thing, but he still won. But Braun stayed on his feet, so it left credibility to Braun. And like you were saying about pushing the dumpster up that ramp, at work, I've had to move the garbage can back because it got pushed out a little too far. And I can tell you, on a flat surface, that thing's a pain in the ass to move. So to push it up a ramp is
definitely
ridiculous. But
I really liked it.
Go ahead.
I I felt like it made Callisto look really good in my opinion, and I think he really needs that right now because he's just really suffering lately as far as bookings and all that. And if I'm not mistaken, they kind of gave him a new outfit, and I believe a new theme song as well, and it was pretty cool. And I think it might kind of they let him get his shit in. He looked real good. He got some moves off, and he technically won. So, you know, I think it'll probably be a good thing for him. I hope they start booking him better.
I hate to piss on your parade, but I think the new look and the new gimmick, the music and everything was horrible. I think he looked like a cross.
You don't like it?
No, I think he looked like a cross between the Boogeyman meets Rey Mysterio. He had like those.
Yeah, he reminded me of a lot of Ray.
And then that music was like they're trying to reach out to that raver crowd, like they do with Naomi and Feel the Glow. And I think they I don't know what it is. I think WWE might just borderline be racist because they do not know how to work a Mexican wrestler. They
You know what's funny about all this? I didn't even realize they changed his music or his house. I don't know what you guys talking about.
I mean, overall, that was a good way to open the show. I can't fault it for that with the whole dumpster match. I mean, they've only had maybe 2 in history of WWE, and this one actually wasn't that bad.
Oh, I didn't know they had another dumpster match. I had never seen it before. And some people kind of compared it to like a PG version of like a casket match. And I think it's pretty cool because I miss casket matches.
Yeah, we had a dumpster match against, we had...
King Saw Charlie and Mankind, or Dude Love, whatever.
Yeah, versus...
Against DX.
Yeah, no, the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, DX, whatever.
No, New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, whatever.
New Age Outlaws.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, New Age Outlaws.
Billy Gunn and Armstrong, yeah.
Yeah, New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
So,
Featured DX.
Yeah, New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
So what do we have next on the card? And we don't have to we don't have to go through the whole card. Just what things stood out to you
I just picked out some highlights. It wasn't they had a 6-man tag with Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Big Cass against Gallows, Anderson, and Samoa Joe. I mean, they're all top talent. It was a good match. But to me, it just kind of seemed like a filler in a way, just because, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it. It was a good match, it was good action, but it's nothing that, like, stood out, like, oh, you got to see this match.
Yeah, but
although Rollins, looks like Rollins has a new finisher. He went to do the pedigree, and he stopped, and he did some move. It's like a knee to the face, basically. But I don't remember him doing it before. It was just a different approach, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
but it looks like he's not going to be doing the pedigree anymore.
Well, Steve Vasio, why don't you give us a breakdown of what the move was, the way you described it to me earlier in pre-production?
I really liked it, and I felt like it was really good in-ring storytelling, to just deny the pedigree, and I'm not doing that no more, I'm not Triple H's bitch anymore. And what it was is it's kind of similar to like a discus elbow where they're turned around, and then he kind of winds them around, pulling their arm, and then when he winds them around, he does like kind of like a high knee strike. And I watched a video earlier, and the high knee strike was basically the same knee that he broke John Cena's nose with. But that one, when he did that one, he didn't set it up. It seems like part of this move is the spin around setup. I think it's a pretty cool move. There's this Japanese wrestler called Okada, and he has a move called the Rainmaker, which he does the same thing. He spins them around with their arm like that, but when they spin around, he does a clothesline, and that's a really over move over there for that guy. Overall, I like it. I was getting kind of tired of the pedigree. I know everybody wishes that they could bring back the curb stomp, but that's never going to happen. So I think it's a good move.
I didn't catch this match, but I can tell you by what you guys are telling me that this was a conflict of interest. The booking doesn't make sense. You've got Seth Rollins, who injures Finn Balor, costing him the Universal title. Now they're on the same team. And then you've got Big Cass teaming with the Club, who they just recently had a feud together.
No, Big Cass wasn't teaming with the Club.
Oh, he was with
the Club.
Oh, he was against the Club. Okay, that makes more sense.
Balor was a fill-in for Enzo because Enzo is hurt.
Oh, I wonder why. Is he getting ragdolled around the ring?
Yeah, I think they beat his ass before the match.
Vince loves that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I mean, that was just my take.
The feel that I got from that is I really feel like they're going to start pushing Big Cass as a singles competitor because it seems more and more often, Enzo's getting injured, air parentheses, and not being able to compete. It just really seems like they're kind of trying to phase him out. And I think Big Cass is ready for it. The whole Enzo and Cass thing is getting a little old, so a singles run might be good for him. Some people have suggested, Enzo as his kind of manager type role. That might work as well. But I think it's more fear of what's going to happen to Enzo without Cass, because Cass can make it on his own. Enzo, I'm not too sure what's going to happen to him if they were to split up.
Anything else stand out for you, Savvo, on that episode?
That stood out was there was a match with Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss, and the match was okay, but what's her name? Sasha did some kind of kick to Alexa Bliss, and she was kind of stunned from it a little bit, so she rolled out of the ring, and then she was kind of disoriented, and then she's like, I'm out of here, fuck this, so she's walking off, and she gets all the way to the back, almost, the curtain part, whatever, and Bayley was doing commentating with the regular announcers, and out of nowhere, Bayley jumps up and runs over and grabs Alexa Bliss. It reminded me of freaking Hulk Hogan, the way she was pulling her back to the ring. And it was just I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. Who the hell is she trying to be? She's pretty soon she's going to put up the, do the finger thing and start shaking her head. No, like Hogan always said. But, so, Alexa happens to, get out of her grasp, and she runs backstage, and Bayley stops, and she turns around, and she's yelling to Sasha, she's going to keep running away or some shit like that. And then out of nowhere, Alexa comes back and freaking gives Bayley a forearm the back of her head, and she goes rolling. And then Sasha came running after Alexa, and she took off. But it was just, I don't know. Glorious! I don't know if you know, but I'm not big on Bayley. She hasn't really proven anything to me, worthy of being a champion. I'm not talking about what she's done in NXT. I watched one match with her in NXT, and it was a much better match than what she's done on the main roster. But I'm still not. She moves her slow motion or something. So I'm not big on her, but I do try and give her a chance. But whenever Nia Jax or somebody like that just beats the shit out of her and Sasha Banks, I fucking love it. It just.
I'll give her one thing. I'll give her one thing. She has a decent ass. I'll give her that. That's it, though. I don't care.
She what?
She has a decent ass. Big ass. Besides that, her finisher, the Bayley to Belly, it's nothing. It's pretty stupid. It doesn't look very effective.
Little twist thing she does, the woo. I mean, it's just freaking annoying. And her moves, it's just I don't know. There's like no strength behind him or no speed behind him or something. It just doesn't look right.
All right, Salvo. This isn't a Stubby sound off. We can lay off Bailey.
It is now. I know it's a Salvo sound off, sucker. Anyway, I enjoy watching.
My biggest takeaway from Monday Night Raw has to be the Jinder Mahal spot. When he came out and took the title from Orton.
Yeah, but that's SmackDown.
God damn it. All right. But
can I add something about Raw?
Yeah, I'm going to have to rewind like 10 seconds and delete that whole section out.
Oh, why bother?
I was just leaving it in. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, because I said it.
Well, so what?
Fuck you guys.
I think one of
you had to go talk about peanuts again. I mean, what? You gonna rewind that? No.
I think one of your running gags is like, for me anyways, like little flubs like that. I think it's funny. Like calling him Matt Rydell.
Dude, I didn't mean to.
Oh, he went there.
Yeah, and the wetback decided he wanted to focus on the spelling. Really?
Jerk off!
I think that dude just hates you.
I think so too. I think it's my mighty ways. It's all good though.
We're really gonna have to cut this out.
No.
Well, you're gonna
do a Gary Bell.
When we start over, there's something in a segment I want to talk about Raw.
Oh, I'm not starting over. This is live, buddy. This is live, pal.
Oh, shit. Okay. Let's go. All right. So there's one segment that you guys didn't bring up that was probably my favorite segment of the whole night, which was the talk show with the Miz and Chris Jericho at first, and then Dean Ambrose comes out. To me, it was hilarious. I love anything with Chris Jericho in it. Like, he's probably my favorite promo cutter, like, of all time. Like, especially recently, he's just gold on the mic. And did you catch that at all, Steps?
I did, and it's funny you say that because I feel like Jericho's kind of running his course a little bit, but I feel like this gave Dean Ambrose to finally get his treading back again a little. Like, I'm starting to believe his character a little bit more than I did 2 months ago. But they still put Miz in that position where he's a mid-carder. And I think he can do so much better. I mean, put him against Finn Balor. Build a feud there. I mean, like you said, this was a good spot. I like the idea. I think it was kind of funny how they took the Geritron 6000 and raised it up. And Miz is like, it's a TV. And then they put a rug down and a plant and an easel, and all of a sudden it's the Ambrose Asylum.
And I like the jacket he gave him.
Oh yeah, the Christmas jacket. And honestly, it's only Jericho that can pull that jacket off.
Giggity.
Did I just say jacket off?
Yeah.
Giggity.
It was a cool segment, I guess, but I do have to agree that, I mean, I love Jericho, don't get me wrong, but at this point, it's starting to get kind of a little bit old for me, and I'm not big on Ambrose. That's why I didn't mention it, but also I didn't take notes while I was watching it.
Hey,
I took notes before.
Speaking of Ambrose, we got to pause for a quick second for a word from our sponsor.
Do you feel lonely and depressed? Like the world has its back against you? Do the voices in your head tell you to milk the cat? Don't do it. That's not right. Here at the Ambrose Asylum, we can make sure you get the help that you need. We have a full-service staff available 24 hours a day. Our rooms are padded 360 degrees for your safety. And at the Ambrose Asylum, we serve only soft food with round silverware. So please, don't delay. Your health is important to us here at the Ambrose Asylum. Call us at 1-800-AMBROSE. That's 1-800-262 7673. 1-800-262-7673. Don't let the voices win. Those cheating bastards.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Okay, that was interesting. I love a good Ambrose commercial, don't you guys?
Hey, wait, when we have sponsors, doesn't that mean we get paid?
Something like that. But it all goes into production. That's how we get such a quality show.
Okay.
I'm done. Sure. I'm done with Raw. If you guys are, because we still have SmackDown and we have Payback to touch on, and so we don't drag the show out to be a 2-hour show.
One more thing, real quick. It was Hardy against Sheamus, which match was cool. Hardy won it with the twist face, but afterwards, you know how Sheamus is always like the guy that's difficult to reason with or whatever. He was actually the one that extended his hand for the handshake, and they ended up shaking hands. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool because normally it's like Cesaro that's doing the handshake while Sheamus is against it.
Well, you see what they're
just a little different scene there.
You see what they're doing here, right? The writing's on the wall. Big Joe almost predicted it last week. He said that we were going to have this match happen, but he predicted a different outcome. He thought Hardy would actually take the loss. But the fact that you have two guys lose cleanly against the tag team champions, no 50-50 booking, is a good chance that we're going to see a title change at Payback. And we may even see a broken Matt Hardy, seeing that WWE it's not quite official, but there have been rumors that they do own the rights now to the broken Matt Hardy gimmick, with Hardy showing signs of the delete signs during the match.
Yeah, obviously when he's doing like interviews and stuff, he switches back and forth with the way he says things, which is in reference to the broken Matt Hardy, and obviously all the delete and obsolete and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I've always liked the broken Matt Hardy side of things.
What I like about the broken, the whole gimmick, is I used to not watch much TNA, but I would watch those segments, and I like the whole stupid storyline behind it, the whole cheesy storyline with the Lake of Reincarnation and Vanguard 1 and all that. So I really hope that, and what's the Mexican guy's name? Like the bald Mexican guy, Senor something. I like Senor Benjamin. I like the whole thing. It actually has a story. So he went into the Lake of Reincarnation, and he was Brother Nero, and then now, he must have went back in, and now he's just Jeff Hardy now. So
I think they got to bring back Vanguard 1.
Well, my fear is WWE is going to get their hands on it unless Jeff and Matt have full control over it, and we're going to get a watered-down version like we did with NWO, and we're going to get a watered-down version like we did with ECW, and it's gonna murder it.
If, in your opinion, if they don't go the way of being broken, if they never do that, if they were just to stay how they are now, how long do you think they will last before people get sick of them? Kind of like when the Dudleys came back, not too long ago, where it was great when they first came back, big pop, whatever, but then they ended up kind of just jobbing out and then, then getting retired. Right now, I feel like the Hardys still have a lot of, they have a lot of momentum still, because they brought him in properly. It was a big surprise. Everybody loved it and made them champions right away. But how long can they last of this kind of just no broken gimmick?
Honestly, last week. I think it's already run its course. Me personally, I don't think they're getting any kind of. I'm sure they're getting the T-shirt sales simply on the vintage, the nostalgia of it.
Nostalgia.
But I'm not there's nothing about them that is Team Extreme. I mean, they can't do the tables and chair matches like they did back in the 90s because we're in a PG era where color's not really allowed. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but they frown upon it. And so when your whole gimmick is hardcore and extreme, and you see, we had a hardcore match on SmackDown with Randy Orton. And I honestly didn't know it was a hardcore match till about halfway through. So if that's the level that they're able to bring at the age that they are, I think they've already ran their course a week ago. So WWE must have known that they were going to get the rights to this broken gimmick, because they may have already had it, to be honest with you. I think they kept it under wraps, and they've had it since WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a slow burn.
You just love controversies, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a slow burn, which if they don't rush it, if they take the patience route and slowly integrate it, I mean, even him losing the titles causes him to have a slight break. I think that would be perfect. But WWE's not known for that. They're all balls in, balls deep, giggity. So that's just how I see it. What about you, Savvo?
I don't know. I like that they came back. I thought that was for me, that was one of the best matches that night on WrestleMania.
How long do you think the gimmick can last, though, as Team Extreme?
Not too much longer. I don't think it's expired already, but yeah, I think they still got it. They were doing it in TNA, and it was still, I still liked it. I still bought it.
No, we're not talking about them. We're talking about not having the broken gimmick. How long do you think them as just the Hardy Boys?
Well, at least, just as being Hardy Boys, at least another month or two. I'm not tired of it. It's what they've always done. And, yeah.
In my opinion, I think they'll last until another tag team gets over enough to take it from them. Because I don't think that there's anyone right now that would make sense to beat them, that anyone would be happy with, The Club, I love them, but, they're just not booked as being dominant. Cesaro and Sheamus, Cesaro and Sheamus are my favorite tag teams at the moment, but the way they booked them leading up into this pay-per-view didn't make sense. Like you said, if it was a 50-50 booking, them winning would have made it would have made sense. There would have been, we would have known it could have went either way. But, with them both losing, if they win now, it just doesn't seem right. But both of them lost clean independently, and then, now they're going to win. So I think the Hardys will be on top. I would say probably, like Savvo said, another month or two until they build someone up who's going to be more over than them. And then I believe from there, the Hardys will probably get phased out. Sure.
I gotta, since this topic is running a little long, I have another, rumor that was mentioned that Mike and the Bennetts are on their way to WWE. Maria, there you go. Do you think that they're going to bring them in together? Are they going to the main roster? Are they going to NXT? Or do you think Maria might be a fit for Sister Abigail?
What?
What an idiot!
Sister Abigail? I'm telling you, if they come up with a Sister Abigail, it's going to be fucking stupid. Disregard Sister Abigail. Keep nobody in that position. It's fucking lame. It just won't make sense. It's like, is she dead? Is she alive? Is there maggots eating her body? It's like, stop it already. Enough with Sister Abigail.
Really?
She's never gonna
Really?
She should never
Really?
be on.
Really?
Really?
Yes, really.
Undertaker ran a gimmick for 26 years as a dead man.
Yeah, and all the fucking sheep are stupid for that.
Okay, so then I gotta ask
don't
you.
Get me wrong. Undertaker. No, wait. Let me explain something. Undertaker, sure, he's one of the best. Yes, I understand that. But he was only one of the best for the last 12 years. He wasn't great when fucking El Gigante and King Kong Bundy and all that shit. That shit was lame.
Okay, I gotta ask you then.
Just like your topic of the week, the gimmick. That was a fucking lame gimmick.
Okay, if Rosemary,
of course, that's my opinion.
If Rosemary's coming over from Impact potentially, the gimmick she had at Impact was a fitting gimmick to be a Rosemary, or not a Rosemary, sorry, Sister Abigail. You don't see an Undertaker style woman in the business.
Not for long.
I mean, if someone came to you and said, "Hey, I got an idea for you. We want to get a guy named Mark Calloway to come in with his ginger hair, wear one of these weird cut Undertaker-looking outfits, almost like a pallbearer, and he's going to..."
More like the Addams Family, but yeah.
Yeah, he's going to pretend like he's a dead man. What if I told you...
What'd you say? A what, man?
A dead man. You know, he's going to have...
Are you being serious?
He's going to... Well, look under his eyes. He had that dark shadows under his eyes. He was supposed to be kind of like a corpse. And if you were to tell someone...
I understand that.
If someone were to tell you that he's going to last for 26 years, you wouldn't have bought it. I wouldn't have bought it.
I still don't buy it. I don't understand it.
I don't understand how they transitioned from a dead man to an American badass back to a dead man.
See, I liked the American Badass. Why? Because it wasn't a gimmick. It was more realistic.
Right, but then how do you go back to the dead man?
I go on reality, not fucking fantasy. That's me.
You should probably stop watching wrestling then. Just saying.
No, I'm saying being realistic, not being fucking a cartoon character.
All right.
I can. The only way, in my opinion on it, if they were to have Sister Abigail, it would have to be a situation where, I don't know, probably not a situation where she's like a zombie, like the fucking Undertaker, but, like she's possessed by the spirit of Sister Abigail. But I almost agree with Savvo on that. That's getting a little too far
That's
out there.
genius. I have to stop you right there. That's genius. Have someone like Rosemary come in without the makeup gimmick.
Okay.
No, let me finish.
She could be the only one to pull that off.
Let me finish. Have Rosemary come in without a gimmick. She's just in the crowd or something, or she's a bystander during the House of Horrors match, and something weird happens, and she gets possessed by Sister Abigail. Now you have an incarnation of this character. And Bray Wyatt needs it right now because for some reason they cannot book him solo. He does better as the Wyatt family. And there's also rumors, now that I brought that up, that Bo Dallas has not been on television taping because he's growing his beard out. And that he is going to join his brother as a Wyatt.
That would be awesome.
I think that's the only...
I heard about that.
That's the only way Bo Dallas is getting over. Which, it only makes sense. He looks like his brother.
One thing they did for Bray, and then they never did anything else with it, was not too long ago, when he had Randy Orton in the back, and then he had about 20 dudes, all with the masks on, to make it seem as though the fucking Wyatt family's huge. They could have did something more with that, because I thought it was kind of interesting, but then they never really did nothing with that.
All right, fellas, let's jump over to SmackDown because we're running long on it. What we said, we almost did. We had more action.
One more quick ending to that. Every time they do something on an evil aspect, evil storyline, it doesn't come off good. Look at Kevin Sullivan was one of the most evil motherfuckers there was, and everything he did that was so evil came out being lame. And it's the whole it just won't work. I don't think. Okay, end of that.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys realize we went so long on the topic of Raw. We had more action in this segment than Raw did on their whole 3-hour show. On to SmackDown. What do you got for us, Savvo?
Well, the show started off with an interview with Nakamura being interviewed by Renee Young. And then Dolph Ziggler's music hits, and he comes out and kind of...
You know what? I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you there. Is this really the direction they're going with this? Is this the reason why they called him the artist known as Nakamura? Simply so they can do a Michael Jackson angle? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, that was actually Prince. That was Prince, the artist.
Right. But the fact that they use the word artist so that they can do the whole musical angle. I mean, the Prince angle's already been done. WCW did it with Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince Iakea. But really, that's what that was what this whole angle is with Dolph Ziggler and Nakamura. I understand they're trying to sell T-shirts and everything by giving him a title, a brand, the artist known as. But it's just, why the fuck? He did great in NXT. You bring over the main roster, now you're going to bury this guy?
We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it seems like it could be a good match and stuff, but.
Oh no, the match, no doubt, but the gimmick behind it, the storyline behind it, the build behind it makes absolutely no fucking sense. I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry. I don't know why. It's not real.
I think he's still gonna be a big star, and I think this is kind of like the stepping stone. Definitely, if Ziggler beats him, then I'm gonna be fucking pissed. I'm gonna be like super pissed. I don't think it's gonna happen though. This build-up it's okay. Like, I'm getting kind of sick of it because I feel like they've done already 2 or 3 segments of them just, talking and kind of attacking each other, whatever. Just get the match over with already. Dolph Ziggler, I don't think he's very good on the mic. It was kind of cringeworthy, him trying to call Michael Jackson, make fun of him. And then Nakamura doesn't speak English very well, so listening to him talk is like...
That's a misconception. That's a misconception. Actually, I listened to an interview with Samoa Joe on Chris Jericho's podcast, and Nakamura actually speaks really good English. He's not fluent, but he can speak it. So, I don't know if WWE just doesn't know how to write for an Asian wrestler, or they just don't have an angle. They brought him over because they realized he was over there way too long, and just don't have a card put in place for him.
The whole Michael Jackson bit, I mean, if you look at him, he is wearing red leather all the time, and he's got that ratty hair. So I see the Michael Jackson resemblance there.
Oh, because he loves Michael Jackson.
That was kind of, what?
Because he loves Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was huge over in Japan and over in China. And when we thought he was...
and in the U.S., too.
Yeah, no, he was 10 times bigger overseas. They idolized that guy. Like in tears whenever they saw him. So, I mean, I get it. Maybe as a child he probably saw him. He probably met him. But now that we're on the correct show, giggity, I like the angle that they're going with Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton. And this touches on that whole non-title match with Bray Wyatt, because Jinder Mahal coming out and supposedly taking the title makes it so that he cannot defend his title at Payback. But if you wanted to put a real life spin on this, isn't that a felony? Stealing private property?
Isn't that cause for suspension and a fine?
Exactly. I mean, you got Gronkowski jumping over a rail at WrestleMania. If it was any other fan, they would have been tackled and taken to prison.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that I liked on SmackDown, was the Jinder Mahal angle. I think they're pushing this guy in the right direction, and he's still a little rough on the promo side, but he's a believable promo. But it's a shame that his potential title run is tainted by the fact that WWE is trying to touch into India's market and get their name out there and get the product out there and potentially expanding out there. And the best way to do that is to put one of their own. Ironically, he's from Canada, but he looks the part. It's just how much of that is really his effort and his dedication to the company, and how much of that is branding.
no matter the reason why, you know, they're pushing him, and I agree it's bullshit, but they have him in that position now. All I hope is that they just build him up some more before this match, and even after the match. I don't hope that he wins the title or anything, but before the title match, let him squash a couple guys. Put him in there against. I can't really think of any jobbers on SmackDown off the top of my head. But put him against Sami Zayn. Fuck it. I love Sami Zayn, but that's all they have him doing right now is jobbing out. So, you know, build him up, make him more believable. Because I actually don't mind it now, you know, as much. Just make him look strong. Do something with it. I like the Bollywood boys, like Angle, them coming out and helping him and holding Randy down and all that. It's bullshit, but since they're doing it, just do it right, you know.
You know what would be believable is put him in a match against Kevin Owens and have him win clean.
There you go.
It doesn't hurt Owens, and it makes Jinder look like he can beat a top guy who once held the title. It's fitting. Any other takeaways from SmackDown that you guys liked?
For me, I really liked the main event, the women's match. I never realized this about myself, but I really like Charlotte. Like, she's probably my favorite women's wrestler. Only not her personality. She's a fucking major bitch. And none of that, the whole storyline between her and her dad and how much they're pushing her down our throats made me really not like her.
Giggity.
But just based purely in ring, how good she is, like, she's really, in my opinion, really amazing in ring. And I felt like that was a great, great match.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Steven. I think Charlotte's just a natural, period. I mean, no matter who you put her in the ring with, she's like that she's like the, what's his name, AJ Styles of the women's division.
Definitely. In a class of her own, basically.
I mean, other than those three things, is there anything else that standing out on SmackDown? Because if not, we got to kind of jump into Payback. This being the pay-per-view this weekend. It should be more of a focus of this episode. I mean, it's to the point where I don't even think we're going to be able to do the hot topic for the week. We may have to save that and do a double hot topic for next week. And I'm also lining up an interview for those that are listening. I'm trying to get Todd Smith. He is a former independent wrestler. He has a tag team partner. I don't recall his name at the moment. But he does a podcast called the No Gimmicks Podcast. You can find him on YouTube. And I'm trying to get an exclusive interview with him. And that should be on next week's show. So if it's okay with you guys, let's jump into Payback. Savvo, what's the card look like?
No particular order, of course. Neville against Aries. Orton against Wyatt.
No. Let's do it. Let's do it match by match because I do have some points of view and some gripes and whatnot on this card.
Okay.
Do you guys feel it's time that Austin Aries gets that title push?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is he because he's an Impact guy, or is it because you think he's worthy?
He's definitely worthy.
Do you think that'll hinder? Do you think it'll hinder Neville by having him lose the belt to him?
Well, they could still continue the feud, but I mean, they're both great. Don't get me wrong. I just think Aries. I mean, how long has he been there now? I mean, I know he had some time inactive for his injury, but I think he's worth it. I'd invest in him if it was up to me.
I see something kind of playing out here, again with Stubby's conspiracies. If you listen to the Next Up program with both myself and Steve Vasio, you would have noted, or you would have heard that we noted yesterday that the what's the name of the division?
United Kingdom Championship?
United Kingdom Championship is coming to, or the division is coming to the WWE Network. And if you wanted to really push the angle, even though 205 is kind of hurting right now, you can pull some of the talent from UK over to 205. But Neville is from overseas. So you can have an Austin Aries win, take the title, and bring Neville onto the UK scene. So it'd still be a clean transfer.
Yeah, that's true. He needs to apply WWE, dude.
I think Aries is gonna. I think he's gonna win. I think he's gonna take it. The only thing I'm looking kind of worried about is who, if they don't continue the feud with Neville, who's next for Aries? Like, what cruiserweights really stand out right now? I think maybe T.J. Perkins.
He beat him last month. Perkins beat him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that might.
Yeah, I haven't been paying too much attention to the cruiserweights, but I recall something vaguely about T.J. Perkins almost going heel and then like kind of teaming up with Neville in a way, like something weird like that.
Yeah, I think we've invested too much time in 205. You said the next match was Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt in the House of Horrors match?
Yeah, that's right. I don't think they even know what this House of Horror thing is going to be. I think they're still trying to figure it out.
What I do know about this match for sure is that it's a pre-recorded match. So it's going to...
Oh.
So it's not going to be live. So they're probably practicing it as we speak. What I don't know how they're going to do it is if it's going to be backstage at that arena or do they have an off-site thing, because what I was told is that it's going to end in the ring. What I also fear... What I also fear is that this is going to be one of those shit matches like when WWE decided to do a steel cage match with dogs on the outside of the ring. And that was just the biggest flop they have ever had when it came to a weird stipulation. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
I don't.
Go back on the WWE Network and look at the, I think it's their like top 10 fails or something. It's like one of the first.
I'll do it.
It's like one of the first videos they posted up there. Yeah, it's horrible. I guess the dogs were shitting all over the place, and yeah, the dogs were scared. I want to say it was Al. Wow. I want to say it was Al Snow versus somebody, or I could be wrong. But a House of Horrors match, if done right, I think they can make it something really cool. WWE definitely has the budget to, production for this, but if you're going to go through that whole effort for a House of Horror matches where it's actually like almost like a funhouse type thing, then the match has to go at least 15 minutes or longer, because to invest all that time and money for it to be a short run like that just doesn't make sense.
What I'm kind of imagining in my head, I don't know why, but I think the setup in my head is similar to a cage match, but the walls just being kind of like a decayed house, or not a full house, but kind of just like kind of a broken down walls. It'd be kind of tricky to make it so they could get the cameras in there or you could see through it or whatever. I just imagine something kind of stupid like that. And also, they'll probably throw some like bucket of worms or something gimmicky in there, kind of like with the Asylum match between Ambrose and Jericho, where it was just like a cage match with like some fucking like weird weapons and stuff. So I imagine something like that. It's interesting that you mentioned that it's going to be pre-recorded, so it might be it's most likely going to be off-site where they film it at, and that's kind of interesting because it's similar to I believe, was it not actually Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy, where it was they like filmed it at their farm or something like that. I think it might have been Total Nonstop Deletion or something like that.
I got one for you guys. Picture this. Where's Payback being shot at this weekend?
San Jose?
Where is the Winchester Mystery House at?
I don't know.
San Jose.
San Jose?
What if WWE cleared out the house of like all the props, like of all the like the antiques and stuff, and put up dummy walls, or even shot it like from the outside, but had their own fabricated version of that? Because the Mystery House has so many doors and all that random stuff. That would be a good twist to it, I would think.
do you like dream about this shit or what? Where'd you come up with that? That is good though, yeah. But it's like, when and where did you come up with that shit, man?
It just happened right now.
You gotta fucking apply to WWE, dude. I'm fucking serious. Fuck this podcast shit. You gotta fucking apply for a writer, dude. I don't know where you come up with this shit.
I just remembered that the Mystery House is in San Jose, and this is a mystery match. So I just put the 2 and 2 together right there on the spot, and it's like, you know what, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, that would probably work, yeah. Even if it doesn't, it's something that, you know.
I mean, because it's a landmark, I know they probably couldn't shoot inside the actual building, because if they broke anything, you can't replace history. But even if you shot...
but they can replicate shit.
Yeah, if you replicate it to where like you have all these extra doors and stuff. I mean, Hollywood builds fake houses in like 24 hours. Why can't WWE do it?
Right.
They're making money hand over fists. I mean, it's not like it's going to hurt them. They can use that for a later date, too.
Yeah.
So, what's next?
Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the United States Championship. My pick would be Owens because Jericho should probably most likely be leaving after this. I don't know. I mean, they're both great. Don't get me wrong, but we've seen this so many times.
You want my take?
Think?
You want my take?
Sure.
We've got Chris Jericho beating Kevin Owens, coming out on Raw or SmackDown, because technically it's kind of floating in the air at that point because Jericho's on Raw and Kevin Owens is on SmackDown.
Didn't they say if he wins, he would be going to SmackDown?
Right, and Kevin Owens.
I think so.
Kevin Owens technically is on SmackDown, so I think he'd get his rematch right then and there, and Kevin Owens beats the shit out of Chris Jericho and takes the title back. So we have Jericho going out where no one thought he was actually going to win the belt simply because he's going on tour. The writers decide to flip it on us, have him win it. Then it becomes predictable the next day when they do their Raw or SmackDown taping. But then he can lose it there. And you get your little pop for the night.
You don't just think outside the box. You think outside this fucking universe, man.
And that's a good way to kind of get. That's a good way to transfer Jericho over to SmackDown if they want to. You know, just have him win the match, like you say, get that pop, and then have him drop it the next taping, and then now he's on SmackDown. So, and in my heart, I want Jericho to win. You know, I'm a big fan, but realistically, you know, he's on his way out. Just overall, he could retire now, and you know, he's a legend. I don't think he needs to give anymore. I think he's done everything. I think he should just you know, call it pretty soon.
How about an even bigger twist? Jericho keeps the belt, the title, goes on tour. He hits that 30-day mark. He's required to come back on the show. He can make a quick drop-in appearance at one of these Raws or SmackDowns and relinquishes the title. That way, it gives him a build when he comes back from tour. And Kevin Owens.
Require you to defend it after a certain amount of time, because I haven't seen Brock defend shit.
That's probably going to be.
I was just going to say that.
That's probably going to be. Yeah, that's probably going to be an angle on Raw following Payback. Is the fact that it's been 30 days since WrestleMania, and Brock Lesnar is going to make an appearance and say, "Take it from me," and then you might get a Braun build up.
Yeah, I think if Braun goes over Roman, which is not going to fucking happen, knowing the fucking massive boner that they got for Roman Reigns, there's no way, in my opinion, he's going to lose this Sunday. But I think it would be best if Braun went over him, because that'd be a lot of momentum going for him to, you know, to go against Brock for the championship.
But yeah, I mean, can you imagine?
Also, spoiler news for a pay-per-view coming up.
What's that?
It's not going to give away who wins, because I don't know that. But they're talking about Strowman against Brock at a new pay-per-view, new title. I can't think of it as something like you wouldn't expect to be, you know, one of their pay-per-views. But it's think it's in like June or something.
Well, that makes sense then. So listen to Stubby's pitch here. You have Brock Lesnar come out on Raw following Payback, and the commissioner or general manager Angle comes out and tells Paul Heyman and his client to come out because due to constraints on the rules that a title must be defended, Brock must relinquish his title unless he's going to fight tonight. And Brock says, if you want it, come get it. I want to see someone try to take it from me. Braun's music hits. He still stands down, but they have like an altercation where the locker room separates them, and we get our slow build to June for that pay-per-view match.
WWE, he's your next writer right here, I'm telling you.
All right, what's next on the card?
Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. This can go either way. I don't know. I like them both. I don't know. I guess if I really have to pick one, I guess I'd go with Rollins, but not because I like him more or anything. It's just something that I see them doing. What about you? Glorious. Steve Macchio.
I like Rollins. I would go with him, but what's next for either one of them when they win? Do they continue feuding with Seth Rollins already beating Triple H, and if he beats Joe, it almost puts an end to he won that whole feud versus Triple H, because that's supposedly what Samoa Joe is fighting for, basically for Triple H's and Stephanie's honor. So if they're going to continue the storyline, Joe will probably win. But if they're just going to put an end to it, start something new, I think it'll be smart to have Rollins win. But actually, no, I'm kind of torn. It's hard for me to choose because Joe is still so new, and I don't think he's really lost like singles clean yet. So they could still just keep pushing him, just keep pushing him towards the top with this win. So I'm kind of torn, but personally, I'll go with Rollins.
Do you want the Stubby Ghost? You want the Stubby Ghost right? What I think is going to happen here?
What?
If I was writing, you have Seth Rollins beat Samoa Joe, but you don't beat him clean. Some kind of interference, something happens to where he actually defeats him. Now you have a Seth Rollins who's defeated Triple H. He's defeated Samoa Joe. And if there's any kind of faction that Triple H is putting together, the pieces have already been put in place of Seth Rollins taking them out. And then you get that turn where we're slowly building potentially the Shield versus whatever Triple H's faction is. I mean, like I said, imagine if Chris Jericho does win the belt. That means Owen comes back to Raw. And all the pieces are in place. Owen's wearing a suit now. And he's clean shaven, almost like it's the new, what was that group?
Evolution?
Yeah, it's like the new Evolution. I don't know if Seth Rollins has fought Kevin Owens. It's been a while. But to have him beat all three of those members, now they have a reason for them to attack him.
When you're talking about... Oh, go ahead.
Real quick on that pay-per-view that I just mentioned that should be coming up in June or whatever. Or actually, it's in July 9th, and it's going to be called Great Balls of Fire.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's what the rumor is. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Back to what you were saying.
But at the same time, I can see it going the other way, where Samoa Joe is supposed to be this destroyer, and he just takes him out. He breaks him. What's next on the card?
Last one looks like Bayley against Alexa Bliss.
Hello?
I'm going Bliss. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I'm going Bliss with this one. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't always apply, but Bayley will be in her hometown, San Jose. But again, it doesn't always apply. But I think it's time for Bayley to lose that title. She hasn't even done anything since WrestleMania. I'm going Bliss all the way.
Without going into any detail, I just think Bliss is a better choice, and I go Bliss.
I want Alexa Bliss to win. I think she's a better wrestler. They probably won't make Bayley lose in her hometown though. But I'll probably go. I'm picking Bliss.
And on a side note, we didn't touch on it on SmackDown, but there is a rumor floating about that Mike Goldberg, the announcer for UFC, is potentially coming over to take over announcing in Mauro Ranallo's spot in the near future. Mike Goldberg actually was offered the job back in 2005 when Jim Ross was fired, but due to scheduling conflicts was not able to take it. So WWE does have a relationship with them. Plus, Vince is kind of close with Dana White, so it only makes sense. But that's just on the rumor mill right now.
Yeah, I watch a lot of UFC, and I was actually kind of pissed when they let Goldberg go because they did him kind of dirty. He was with the company for years and years, and when the company got bought out by, they got bought out recently, he was just one of the cuts that they made for whatever reason, and they didn't even give him any sort of farewell or any sort of respect. They kind of just let him go, and they never mentioned it again. And I think he has a really good voice. I'm a little concerned that he might not have like the wrestling knowledge, but I'm sure he could do his research and get along just as well until he learns it.
So before we end the show, is there anything you guys want to touch on? Any spoilers, rumors, predictions, anything outside the norm that you want to put out there?
Well, I don't want to give up. Well, can't think of any offhand right this second, but spoilers, I'm kind of not doing spoilers because, number one, if I see like a thing, an email or whatever saying those spoilers, blah, 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 I kind of try and avoid it because I just want the element of surprise when it does happen. So I'm not going to give out spoilers as far as anything like that, wins or losses or whatever. I'm good.
I don't know what you guys this weekend looks like, but if you guys are free at all this weekend, we might be able to do a roundtable discussion, kind of like we do for the Savvo and Stubby show, and do a discussion just on a hot topic for the week. Because I'm sure with the day of the Gimmick being dead, or Strong Style doesn't have a place, that can easily take up a half hour to an hour for a show. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Glorious Steve Vasio.
I was just, did we skip over Strowman versus Reigns?
I think it's been done enough, honestly, that there really isn't any reason to talk about it. Me personally, oh no, you did touch on it, Steven. Because
I just saw a little bit. I gave my opinion. Okay, now I remember.
Because you said you didn't think Braun was going to beat him because WWE has a hard-on for for Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I stand by that. They fucking love that guy.
You stand by your hard-on?
For some reason, the fans fucking hate him. I don't mind him. He's okay, but seems like that's the general consensus. The fans hate him, but they continue to push him. So.
Do you have a hard-on for Roman Reigns?
It's like a semi.
With me, I call it a stubby. With me, I call it a stubby chubby. All right, guys. It's me. It's STUBB. Why? Because I'm the man, the myth, the legend, the mighty man himself, Stubby. And my cohorts, my colleagues.
Follow the Savior. Signing out.
Ignacio.
That sounds so depressing. You gotta say it one more time.
Well, shit, we've been saying it all day long.
Put some stank on it.
He's burnt out. Ignacio.
All right, guys. And as always, you can find us on Spreaker, on Facebook, hopefully soon to be on YouTube. But on Spreaker, you go to your Google Play or your Apple Store, download the Spreaker app, click on the search, look for Savvo and Stubby. Boom, we're in your pocket.
Boom, we're near.
There you go. I was waiting for it. And
you know, on that note of where they could find us at, I know we're in expansion mode right now, so you know, I'm thinking of other outlets we can be going to pretty soon. I think Spotify. I'll check it out and see if if it's suitable. If it costs much to get going. It might be free. I don't know, but we'll look into it. YouTube, other areas where we could expand to.
And be sure to check out our affiliates. It's the Wetback and Crack-A-Power Hour. You can find them on pretty much every platform. Also check out our new friend, Todd Smith, and the No Gimmicks podcast. You can find Todd Smith on Facebook. You can also find the No Gimmicks podcast on YouTube. It's all in the name, No Gimmicks Podcast. And as always, looking forward to hearing from you guys next week. Stubby out.